Well, hi everybody, and welcome back to the Smart Growth for Water Resources Table Talks. If you've been tuning in, we appreciate you watching our first few episodes with Lane Kreider and Nelson Peacock. And we're excited today to have our third guest, Tim Conklin, Director of the Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission. I'm Becky Roark, Executive Director for the Beaver Watershed Alliance. And I have Leif Kinberg joining me again. Thanks for being here, Leif, with the Illinois River Watershed Partnership. Just to remind everybody, we're doing these table talks to really talk to our leadership here in Northwest Arkansas and learn about their perspectives on growth and water resources. So Tim, welcome to the show today. Thanks for being here with us.
Well, thank you, Becky, for the invitation.
Yeah. So a lot of work that you do at the Regional Planning Commission is really, a lot of it's behind the scenes. So I'm excited to have our audience kind of learn today and see all the work that you do and how you're involved in the growth and things happening here in the region. So our first question is really about your role as the commission in Northwest Arkansas and how does that play for our water resources here?
At the commission, we've been around since 1966, and there's been a lot of change over the last 58, 59 years almost now with Northwest Arkansas. Tying it back to water, I think everybody realizes how important our source drinking water supply is with Beaver Lake, and without that natural resource, Northwest Arkansas wouldn't be where it is today. And so I'm excited to be here to talk more about this today. At the commission, we today have 31 cities in Benton and Washington County. We also work in Madison County, also in a portion of McDonald County. We bring people together to set out a vision for what Northwest Arkansas should become in the future, and shared goals. And so one of the first things we do at the commission when we update our plans is we look at how is our population going to grow and how is the employment sector going to grow in Northwest Arkansas, and we make projections on that. Tying it all back to protecting our natural resources and our water, we collaborate and convene with our planning partners to really look at how do we build communities, what are the best practices. Some of the initiatives at the commission that recently we have completed included pulling together the 4 cities in the Cave Springs Karst recharge area, doing additional studies on the recharge to protect the Ozark cavefish, and then taking that work and mapping out that recharge area and what areas need to be further protected and what best practices can be deployed, working with their planning commissions, city councils to do that work. About 10 years ago now, we've done the Northwest Arkansas Open Space Plan, pulling together, once again, the cities in Northwest Arkansas, looking at what are they currently doing, what do we need to do to work together to collaborate to try to implement those plans. And so working with resource agencies, nonprofits, looking at where there's opportunities to form those partnerships. And so that's been a tremendous success too. Recently, in the last couple of years, we've been working with the Arkansas Department of Energy and Environment, and we prepared a priority action plan that allowed our planning partners to also apply for grants to help protect our natural resources, our riparian areas, wetlands, stream bank restoration. So over about 2,000 acres covering about 10 communities. And so it's been really rewarding to just see the energy in Northwest Arkansas on, we know we're going to grow. We're projected to grow to 1 million people, 600,000 in Benton County, 400,000 in Washington County. But at the same time, what I hear the most from people that I run into when I'm shopping or at a park is that people love our natural areas. They love our natural resources, our outdoor recreation. They want to make sure we are all working together to protect what they love about Northwest Arkansas. So whether or not you're riding on the Razorback Greenway, a 40-mile trail now from Fayetteville to Bella Vista, or you're fishing or kayaking or canoeing, they want to make sure those resources are protected and there 25 years from now.
Tim, you talked a little bit about growth in Northwest Arkansas, and we're going to reach 1 million people by 2050 is the projection. When you look at stormwater, wastewater, and drinking water, what do you feel like some of the gaps or opportunities for further planning that we need to take on in the next couple of years in our region?
So just on planning Northwest Arkansas, we have 1 million people. At the commission, we are preparing our long-range transportation plan for 2050. We're going to be doing 3 different growth scenarios. So, there's choices that we make. Do we spread out? Do we consume all of our agricultural land? Do we have very low density development? Or are there ways that we can accommodate more people and more businesses in a more compact form? And so we're having those discussions this year. There'll be some public involvement on that. At the end of the day, it's a matter of choices that we make and policy decisions about how we grow Northwest Arkansas. And we should be thinking about we're growing complete, compact, connected communities that provide needs for everybody that's living within Northwest Arkansas and within those individual communities. And at the same time that we're protecting our watersheds, our natural infrastructure. What we build doesn't get destroyed by floods in the future. We have, I'd say in the recent past, there's the number of significant rainfall events that we've seen, the significant weather events with the tornadoes that we have seen. I think we were trying to really think about how to build a resilient Northwest Arkansas. Stormwater is a big issue. We've all heard, you can, not talk about it or try to address it, but at the end, when infrastructure is being washed away and you got to go back and try to fix it or figure out how to resolve the issue, it's also expensive. And so, either on the front end or the back end. And then probably another key piece of infrastructure that we always talk about is how do we treat, you mentioned wastewater treatment. And so we have multiple treatment plants around Northwest Arkansas, multiple cities either going to one plant in one city. I think a better understanding of what's happening in the communities outside the Big Four is something that we really need to take a deeper, closer look at. Because we're also seeing development where 1,000 lots are being proposed. Mm-hmm. And those 1,000 lots, sometimes, yes, it may take 10 years to develop them. In other cases, you may be talking 2 to 5 years and the whole development's built out.
There was a plan developed, the Northwest Arkansas Open Space Plan, and you were a big part of that Regional Planning Commission, and a lot of partners came together for that plan. And we're just curious kind of how is that plan coming along? And are we doing enough to protect those, the natural infrastructure that we have here in Northwest Arkansas?
That's always a good question. Are we doing enough?
Are we doing enough? Yeah.
I think the Northwest Arkansas Open Space Plan really set the stage to understand how we protect our core natural areas and our corridors. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned some funding that we worked on the last couple of years, and we convened the region together to look at how can we implement the Northwest Arkansas Open Space Plan, but we also had an active transportation plan. So when you think about the Northwest Arkansas Greenway and you're riding your bike or rolling on it and you see these natural areas along the Razorback Greenway, not all of them are protected. Those could be lost. With that plan, we looked at what we adopted as a region of how do we protect these critical intact cores in these corridors and then this active transportation, and we developed this green network. And I will say that, it's a nod to what one of our communities is doing with their Enduring Green Network is, identifying how can you create these ribbons of green that are connecting our neighborhoods and throughout the community, but in Northwest Arkansas, an overall green network of connecting multiple corridors and cores together. And so, I kind of look at it, if you want to think about, Mount Kessler and Centennial and Lake Atlanta up there, and some of the mountain bike parks up in Bentonville, Bella Vista. People flock to that. I always think that communities can look at the tools in the toolbox to look at how to protect and preserve those natural areas. I don't think anybody wants to pave over all of Northwest Arkansas, channelize all our creeks, cut all the trees down. I think there's a balance. Yes, we need housing. We also have a housing crisis. We need housing, but we must balance where we place the housing and what is our natural infrastructure. I think that collectively we want to make sure that infrastructure is in place, and not just the gray infrastructure, the concrete, but the natural infrastructure, and that what we see out there with our 200 plus miles of trail that we have, we're so blessed to have multiple cities up and down the corridor, all supporting development of other transportation modes, and so that's very exciting to see too.
Yeah, it's so great just to see the commitment and value on those kinds of landscapes here. So
yeah, Tim, the cost of maintaining that green infrastructure is significantly lower than the cost of building new gray infrastructure to address the same challenges around stormwater, and so it's really good to hear that that's the priority. Just thinking about stormwater, drinking water, and wastewater, what do you feel is the biggest challenge that we face in Northwest Arkansas moving forward, and either any one of those from your perspective?
I think we always point to Beaver Water District as a success story of the region coming together and understanding how to treat drinking water and deliver clean, safe drinking water to a very fast-growing region. Go to stormwater, each city doing something a little different, and so when we can pull people together and talk about how to work on that together, kind of like we did with this grant opportunity, I think that's an opportunity to do that. But at the same time, I think it just makes that's a challenge. And then I think on the wastewater, having a good understanding of how we are building our communities and where that growth is occurring and the impact, I'd say that's probably a very challenging topic right now, because we are seeing so much development occurring in many of the smaller cities, developments that are larger than the city's population today. And then, of course, our city limit lines, they're not all just, perfect geometric shape. They cut over and across valleys and hills and different topography and watersheds. And, that's a challenge too, because you're trying to design systems, especially on sewer, that are either gravity flow, and if not, then you're building force mains. And that uses a lot of energy. So I think those are some of the challenges.
Yeah. Wow.
Tim, what do you love about your job? We always end with this question. What do you love about your job and working in Northwest Arkansas?
I would say everybody that's working in Northwest Arkansas, every day is different. It's not boring at all. There are so many opportunities. I think it has been very rewarding to work in Northwest Arkansas, just with all our different planning partners, the public, everybody here in Northwest Arkansas.
Okay, well, that wraps it up for today's episode. And just as a reminder, we do have our Smart Growth for Water Resources Conference coming up April 2nd and 3rd of this year. Registration is now open, so you can find that at our website, beaverwatershedalliance.org. And these episodes are going to be on the website as well as our YouTube channel. So check those out to find these episodes for the table talks. So thank you all very much for tuning in today.